Welcome, everybody, to the American Space Museum. I'm Marquette, and we're so glad you're with us to stay curious today with a special guest, Mr. Burt Dick. Hello, Burt.
Hi, Mark. Good to see you again.
Great. Oh, great to see you. Burt is a managing director at the National Space Society, which you all know is Ad Astra magazine, that I don't even have one laying around here to hold up.
And I was hoping to bring the current issue, and I didn't get a copy of it to bring yet. So
anyway,
maybe the next time.
We talked to Burt a couple of months ago, over almost a half a year ago was your first appearance, talking about his life, reprise that. You want to catch that, and then in April, you pinch hit for me when I was on vacation.
Yes.
Going to the eclipse.
That was a fun experience.
And you did a great job. I actually watched that live, and you did an awesome job. And today we're going to talk with Burt like we're going to have him on once a month, kind of to do some current events of what's going on, talk about both of our nonprofits as we're partnering with the National Space Society on several things. And you're just a good guy to have around. People like Tommy Usiak watching, and these characters that have invaded our studio.
Yes, I see that.
They've known you for years. Marty, you might want to pan around and see the menagerie that they led into the museum here.
Next time we'll have to set up better security.
Wade
right?
Bear, we've got Carlton Bailey and Mark Usiak here in the house, okay? And you guys there, that loosens it up there for you, buddy. Hello, guys. Yeah,
guys, welcome.
All right, there you go. Moving around there. Thank you all up there.
I don't know. They did say they were here to heckle me, but we'll see what happens.
Well, you got to say something stupid.
Well, Marty's I got to say something stupid. Then you'd be here every day heckling me. Okay. Because we've only done 1,060 episodes of Stay Curious. We being my buddy Marty Winkle and I. Each of us have probably missed less than 10. But and we love it. We love it because we get to know people like you and share that with people around the world. Thank you all for watching today. Here's a guy that's watched occasionally, astronaut Mike McCulley. He's done some awesome things for our museum over the 10 years. The museum's about 15 years old. We've been in this location for about 7. So Mike is a great supporter of ours.
Well, like 25.
The U.S. Space Walk of Fame Foundation is 25 years old. The museum's been in 6 or 7 places over that period of time. And Mike has supported us all the way. He's kind of retired now out of public appearances, but he donated a healthy $1,000 to us on his Stay Curious appearance, and we appreciate Mike. You can reprise that on our Facebook. He was during our COVID days there.
Fabulous.
Burt, tell us real quickly to refresh everybody, where'd you grow up? Thumbnail of what you did before you got involved with the National Space Society.
Yes, grew up in Philadelphia, and
Eagles, Philly Eagles,
Eagles.
in the NFL?
Oh yeah, Eagles and the Phillies, absolutely.
The Phillies,
76ers and the Flyers.
All right.
Went to the 2 Flyer parades when they won the Stanley Cup way back in the early 70s. Yes.
That'd be fun.
And of course, when the Phillies won the World Series in 1980, that was pretty exciting.
Way back in the last century, man.
Yes, they've done it since then, but that was the last one I was involved in because
Philadelphia kid, interesting.
Moved away, if you recall, and went out to California after I got my engineering degree and worked for Northrop, which is now Northrop Grumman, worked for Rockwell Space Transportation Systems Division, and of course I interned here at the Kennedy Space Center when I was in college, and worked in aerospace. As I always tell students, I love things that go very fast and make a lot of noise.
Well, here's something behind us that's fast
Yes.
and kind of noisy. That's a photo of yours. What's that?
Those are 3 NASA T-38s, and if you know anything about aircraft, that's a Northrop designed plane. Primary graduate trainer for the U.S. Air Force for a long, long time. And NASA, of course, chose the T-38 for the astronauts. So what you're seeing there are the 3 T-38s that arrived here. I believe it was April 25th. And the Starliner crew and the backup team all arrived here at the Space Shuttle landing facility. And you've got a few other pictures of them arriving.
Yeah, at the end we're going to talk about that.
But it was fabulous to see those airplanes fly overhead and come in. Yes.
What an efficient, slick airplane.
It's a beautiful airplane. But the Air Force is phasing them out because they don't have the glass cockpits.
Uh-huh.
In training for today's modern 5th generation fighters, the T-38 just doesn't have it anymore.
It still has dials and knobs.
So
and stuff like that
the Boeing T-7 is going to be taking over for the T-38. I don't know what NASA's planning to do, but NASA has been using them since the 1960s.
Astronaut Story Musgrave one time had the most hours in any of them. Wrote a book about it
Yes,
on there. So
I have a copy of that book.
there you. Did he sign it?
No, that one is not signed.
All right, I can
Yes.
forge his signature. Just a big old story across there.
Sounds great. Sounds great.
Well, we're gonna talk. Have a moment here about a serious moment about somebody involved with the NSS who's no longer there. But what an exciting morning, huh?
It was a very
Starship
exciting
launched.
morning.
Both the
yes.
big booster and the Starship itself went to the full route and landed in the water.
Exactly. I was coming into the office. I decided to delay it so I could watch the launch, and it's really impressive as that super heavy takes off. And then you did notice, I don't know whether people saw that, there was one engine out.
Yeah,
Yes,
I did notice that.
but it didn't seem to have any impact on it.
So, but some of you that are baby boomers like us, this is very similar to the N-1 Russian rocket that was their moon rocket that had 30 engines.
Had 30
on it.
engines.
And
yes.
its first 3 flights, it blew up, each time going a little bit further. And the grand designer of that Korolev, he said that he thought he ordered 13 of them to be built.
13,
Because
wow.
he thought the 13th one would be the one they landed on the moon.
Wow.
And all the others would be stages of learning. And this is what Musk does. We know that's what the SpaceX approach is just keep building them, finding out what
really
went wrong,
impressive.
and then finally it works. So.
And then to see that super heavy do its descent and then make a kind of a soft landing in the
that was wild,
in the
churning
water.
to the water.
Yes.
When you see former astronaut Chris Hadfield, who's a big Facebook person, revel at this is truly a new generation of space flight because this is going to work. They're going to keep after it until it does work.
It's really fascinating how they do it and how they do it so fast. I'm fascinated as an engineer, not just a space enthusiast, because they are really using what we call the engineering design process. Because the engineering design process is you design it, you test it, you see what went wrong, and then you redesign it. And they are doing that. You see how they're making progress each time and going further and further. And it's fascinating to watch.
It is.
Yes, and exciting because we're getting closer to hopefully an operational Starship.
Yeah, full view. I watched. There must have been 8 different channels on YouTube that had it on there, including Ellie in Space, and watched her a little bit. But so we're glad that this is progressing. This is to be the Artemis moon landing rocket, and then they keep talking about Mars and you and I roll my eyes because people really don't think about how far Mars is away.
When people keep talking about it, I want to go to Mars. I just don't see it in my lifetime.
I think we could go,
yes.
but feeding you for years before you come back, that's what I find, and to be the real challenge.
I do have a story I'll tell from the Astronaut Hall of Fame induction, one of the astronauts I met. So I'll wait till I get to him because he talked about going to Mars.
Well, we've had a great week with the Astronaut Hall of Fame. You were involved in it. We got Mark Usiak in the building here, and Carlton Bailey. They were involved with that, as well as rocket launches going left and right. Geez, that's Friday night launch was gorgeous.
Had a beautiful Starlink launch. Yes.
And a beautiful Starlink launch after the crewed launch going north. That was interesting.
Yes.
I actually looked at that through my 8-inch reflecting telescope, all right, for a while.
Did you,
and
where we were, that cumulus cloud blocked us after a while. Were you
on Starlink?
On Starliner.
Oh, Starliner.
Yeah, I don't know whether you maybe we got
the day one or the night one.
The day one when it launched on Wednesday. So
they're launching every 3 days up there, so we keep up with it on there. National Space Society lost one of their wonderful people. Oh, we want to first say Happy D-Day. All right. 80 years ago.
80, yeah, the 80th anniversary of D-Day
the biggest
is today.
Allied invasion on the face of the earth happened. Normandy, France. Huge event. 80 years ago. So if you were 18, you'd be 98.
They actually were interviewing several of the D-Day invaders who served that day. One was 18 when he joined the Army, so he was 98. Another one was 22, so he's 102 now.
Wow.
And I think they said we're losing about 131 of the greatest generation every day, something in that range.
It smacks of our Apollo
Yeah.
generation, which today is the 92nd birthday of David
Oh,
Scott.
wow. Yes.
All right. What would he have been? The seventh moonwalker and 8? No, he'd been 7 and 8. He was
Right.
the seventh moonwalker.
Right.
Didn't rack up a picture there of David Scott. He's 92. Buzz Aldrin's 94, and Harrison Schmitt and Charlie Duke are both 88. Going to be 89 this year. Charlie's the youngest. Charlie's birthday's in October, and Jack Schmidt's in July. They're very fit, late octogenarians too. So,
Yeah.
yeah, David Scott, happy 92nd birthday to you. We gave you a shout out on our Facebook page. So, yeah, the greatest generation, the whole World War II, some awesome movies that we've all watched as kids and so forth.
Speaking about it, I have this bumper sticker, not that I don't put on my car, but I think it came from the USO. So it the quote is the home of the free because of the brave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if
that.
you've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah,
very
I
good.
love that
And
too.
so let's pay tribute to all of them. Yes.
So pay tribute to your D-Day freedom in one way or another today. So, but you had a sad event happen at your institution there.
Yes. We found out.
That's
and-
Jennifer Muntz on the right and astronaut Chris Ferguson in the middle.
Yes, and that's Anita Gale on the left. Anita was our CEO of the National Space Society, and we lost her on May 19th. A very fast illness that took us all by shock. And Anita was a giant, really. She broke many glass ceilings, spent her whole career in space. First at Rockwell Space Transportation Systems Division, and we actually think we were at the Downey facility at the same time, way back in the mid '80s, and then went to Boeing and worked on the space shuttle program and payload integration. But her real impact, along with her engineering, was her effort to inspire the next generation. And she created what was called the Space Settlement Design Competition, and it's an international competition that they hold the finals here at the Kennedy Space Center, the Center for Space Education, and she has inspired thousands of students to engineering and STEM careers. And this competition is extraordinary because it puts the students in the position of engineering companies that are trying to build a space settlement. And for that, her legacy is substantial. And she was also instrumental in us getting this office here at the Kennedy Space Center.
Wow. Tell us her name again.
Her name is Anita Gale.
Anita Gale.
Yes.
And where was she from?
She was actually from Washington State, went to University of Washington, and actually went to school with Bonnie Dunbar, astronaut Bonnie Dunbar.
Interesting.
So
she was at the cocktail challenge.
yes, and she good friends obviously.
Fergie
with
won
Chris.
the cocktail challenge.
Oh yes,
by
he
the way,
did.
there.
But she's good friends with Chris Ferguson as well from her time at Boeing,
Yeah.
for example.
Well, God bless Anita Gale
Yes,
and her
we
family.
will miss you,
And,
Anita.
Marty's got a comment.
Yeah, we have a comment from Bob Seek. Burt, thanks for supporting our museum. Best of success to the NSS.
Oh, thank you, Bob. And Bob was a guest on one of our space forums recently, talking about the launch director's perspective.
Yes, he was.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And Bob's great to see you, Bob C. He launched 57 of those space shuttles. and has been our treasurer here at our museum, and just kind of one of the guys that mentored me around here. And Bob's going to do a program about the uh, ALT program,
Oh,
the
right.
approach and landing tests out
Oh,
there.
very good.
Very important to the space shuttle in 1970.
77.
77
Well,
up there,
you remember I worked at the Intrepid, so I know everything about the Enterprise.
Yeah. Well, Bob Seek, you're going to see some pictures of Endeavor like you've never seen them here if you hold on there a minute. But you've got right there already.
Yes, it was a very hectic few weeks, and I went out to Los Angeles to our International Space Development Conference, which I'll talk about shortly. But I wanted to see Endeavor, and back when they moved Endeavor, I wrote an article for the HKN, the Bridge magazine, about all the engineering it took to get Endeavor out to California and then move it from Los Angeles International Airport to the museum. And in that article, I talked about them stacking Endeavor as a display. And, it was many years away. It was just an idea. So they have started to do the stack.
These are your photographs?
This one is not my photograph. This would have been a tough one. This
Yeah.
is from the California Science Center. But you can see the Endeavor is now attached to the external tank, the two solid rocket boosters. Endeavor is wrapped in what's called a ballistic fabric because they're building the building around it right now. So this is my picture. So you can see what's happening there. And I wanted to get out there to see it before the wall got too high. The building side wall got too high. And it's really impressive. What an engineering feat that they're doing. And I started to talk to one of the construction workers, and I said, "Is this the most fun you've ever had?" And he said, "Oh yeah, this is so much more fun than just building a bridge or a building. This is American history, and it's just fascinating to see how they're doing it. You see, the scaffolding is all around it, and I'm so glad I got out to see it before it was all sealed up, so you can't see it. But when that opens." I'm heading out to California right away to see it.
All right.
They're going to have different platform levels so you can access different parts of the orbiter or the stack as they call it. And it should be really impressive.
Every piece of hardware is real. That's a real
Everything
external
is real.
tank,
It's
SRBs.
exactly.
And of course, the fabulous Endeavor Orbiter
Yes.
OV-105.
Yes.
Now, I understand when they put Atlantis, they
on
left
the angle?
left the back door open, so to speak.
Okay.
To,
I
when
do
they were
remember
building
when
that building.
when Atlantis was inside and they were building the pavilion. It was also wrapped in that ballistic fabric to protect it. So.
Well, good. That's great.
if
And
you
Doug
get-
Forrest is watching, and in Los Angeles area there, he's not too far from there. He says he's watched it go up. He sent us a picture of it when they were moving it.
Oh, right.
So what's this?
Well, I always like to stop into the California Science Center. So that is the F-20 Tiger Shark, the Northrop F-20 Tiger Shark. And this was the first main project I worked on as an engineer. So they have it hanging from the ceiling there. And I just wanted to go in, say hello.
From your drawing board to museum piece.
Well, this was all done on computer graphics.
Was it really?
We started making.
What year would that be?
That was the early 80s.
Okay.
So I think about 84, 85 time frame when we started flying them. And unfortunately, we didn't sell any. But for a young engineer, it was a great way to learn about aircraft design. So again, beautiful airplane.
Why is it in the museum per se?
Well, it's the last one that's still around.
Okay.
So Northrop gave it to the museum to preserve it. Yes.
All right. Well, we're talking with Burt Dick here. He's a great partner now at the American Space Museum. We've got exciting things that we're going to spring on you here as we go down the line here. Gabriel Rothblatt's involved as executive director, and he's on our board of directors now. Gabriel is.
Yeah.
And we saw a picture of Jennifer Muntz there running the show here in Space Coast. So No Limits was the theme for the International Space Development Council
Conference.
Okay.
Yes. ISDC.
And
we do this every year.
where was it this year?
This year it was at the Sheraton Gateway Hotel in LA, which is right outside of Los Angeles International Airport. and it's a great location. It's easy to get to, and they have a great amount of space for us because we have so many things going on with different tracks. And this year, for the very first time, we actually had a host that we brought in, someone who provided some consistency at each of the events, like the lunches and the dinners. And as some people who are Star Trek fans might recognize her, that's Melissa Navia. She plays Lieutenant Erica Ortegas on Star Trek Strange New Worlds. So she pilots the Enterprise.
Oh,
So she served as the host, and it was just great to get to know her. She was just so excited about what we're doing, what NSS is doing, and the role we're playing in space settlement, space development. So it was great to get to know her. And I've invited her to come visit us on the Space Coast. So if she comes, we'll make sure she comes in here
that'd
to
be
Stay
great
Curious.
for you to bring her in here on a Stay
Yes.
Curious show here.
Yes.
We're going to look through Burt's photo album here, the event
Yes,
here now.
so there's a picture with me and Melissa there. Again, the great thing about the ISDC, as I've said this when I was on the last time, is that they have tracks on many different technical sides of space settlement and space development, but you also have an opportunity to meet the movers and shakers, so many great people. So I think that with these photos, I'm highlighting some of the people we've had a chance to meet.
I
So this
recognize
is
that JPL guy.
Yeah, this is Rob Manning, who's the chief engineer at JPL, and he told us about how he got involved at JPL and all of the different projects. He's had such a significant impact on our robotic exploration of the solar system and so on. And it's just fascinating to hear about that. You just say, wow, this is just fun stuff that they're doing. So he was just one example of the people we met. And there's me with Rob, and not the best picture, though. They had these big spotlights set up, but the one person on the far right is Rod Pyle. Rod is the executive director at Astra Magazine.
Carlton, is there a magazine laying around there at Astra somewhere?
Yeah.
Keep,
So Rod
look
is
around,
Rod's a
I had one over
prolific
there.
space writer. He's written about 20 different books on space, and he does a lot of work for the Jet Propulsion Lab as well. So next time I will make sure we have one.
Yeah, we have some out front
Yes.
that we sell, and I had one laying around there. But yeah, Rod has written dozens of books, correct?
20, I think 20.
20 books.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah,
Yes.
we want to. We've offered the NSS this forum if Rod wants to come on once a month and preview the magazine and get some subscribers. We're all happy with that.
Right. And some people might recognize this gentleman. This is Dr. Alan Stern, of course.
Oh yeah. Okay.
From New Horizons that went to Pluto. He is just a fascinating
I'll
man.
leave it like that.
Yeah,
Marty.
because he's done so much. You would think just doing New Horizons itself would be enough in your career, but he's been involved in so many different also robotic explorations. And people might not know this. He also went on that Titan, that submersible that went down to the Titanic that exploded.
Yeah.
He went on a previous mission to and
Did he?
He was invited to do that and
Survived it.
yes,
Yeah,
survived
did.
it. And he also flew on Virgin Galactic's spacecraft.
Oh, did he?
What is
Alan
it, the-
Stern
the-
did that? Okay.
Yes.
A disciple of the great Carl Sagan.
Yeah.
Uh,
He when he talked about that flight, he was going on to do research. So NASA is actually going to be funding him to fly on more flights. And he was talking about they actually had about 9 different metrics that they wanted to meet in order during his flight. And they met every one of them. So it was a learning experience to do that. So he's going to be going again on
really?
Virgin Galactic. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. Really fascinating guy and just great to meet him. I think the next picture is me with him. He was also a guest of one of our space forums as well, and just shared so much fascinating information about how do you develop something that is going that far away from Earth. And again, as an engineer, I'm in awe of it all.
kind of one of the
Yeah.
superstars of us space geeks out there.
Absolutely.
In
Absolutely.
there. You've got, oh, I can see his name, and I was just thinking about it. He did something, the Mars guy.
Oh,
Oh,
Robert Zubrin?
no, but he's one too.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of Steve Squire.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, in there. But there's another. Who's that?
That is Dr. Pascal Lee, and he's part of the Mars Institute. And he gave a fascinating description of if you're going to be one of the first explorers to go to Mars, what it's going to be like for you there, what the atmosphere is like, what the soil is like, what to expect, how you're going to survive. And it was he did this for the students. We had about 1,000 people at the ISDC, and about half of them were students. So we're really trying to encourage students to get involved. And it was really just a fascinating talk. So he also does a Mars analog in the Arctic.
Oh, really? In a nutshell, what
Yeah.
did he say it's going to be like?
Oh, it is not a nice place to be. So you better be prepared.
Not
Yes.
a place to raise your kids.
No,
huh?
this
It's cold as hell.
well, he was talking about the fact, in The Martian, how he raised the potatoes, but the Martian soil is toxic, so that wouldn't have been able to happen.
With radiation and so forth, yeah. Oh, and who's this here?
Yes.
Surprised you at the event.
So one of the big things that we did, that we give out awards each year, and for people who've made contributions to space settlement, space development, and it doesn't have to be scientists or engineers. It can be entertainers, it can be writers, that type of thing. So we presented what's called the Heinlein Award to William Shatner, of course, named after Robert Heinlein, the great science fiction writer. And
Stranger in a Strange
yeah,
Land.
it's
his
and so
seminal book.
you can see the award itself is like this canon, and that's Carlton Johnson, who is our chairman of our board of governors, and who's also taking over as the CEO. After Anita's passing,
Right.
so he's presenting the award to William Shatner, and then William Shatner gave a really.
Now, what's the symbol of the cannon?
I honestly don't remember
Okay.
what the meaning of the canon is. It has to do with one of his books.
We're going to say it's from
Yeah.
Earth to the Moon
Yeah.
cannon.
No,
by
that wasn't
H.G.
it. But
Wells.
it does have to do with one of his books. And but he gave a really
Shatner
great,
looks good there. He's 92
he
or
looked
3 years
he
old.
looked
isn't
really great. Unfortunately, we didn't have a chance to mingle with him. It was because he was coming in. He just came in, accepted the award, spoke, and left. He wasn't, we weren't able to mingle with him. But it was so great to see him. He was energetic.
He had to go cash the check.
Oh, no. I don't think he needs our award money, but he really was inspirational, talking about his own flight on New Shepard.
Oh, really?
So-
yeah, he's very affected by that.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
he totally affected by it.
Yeah.
He still talks about it.
Yeah, he weeps, he says, for the
Yes.
Earth,
Yes.
thinking about it there. So, William Shatner, how cool is
And
that?
it's interesting that Alan Stern had a different reaction from So everyone, it's a unique thing how you
Oh, it is.
experience it.
Marty, I'll never forget young Sarah Sabri sitting right there of NS-22,
Right.
the first Egyptian to go suborbital, and you thought she spent 3 days on the moon. She
Right.
was so fired up. I mean, it really, and that, so we're glad that Blue
If-
Origin's back.
If
with
Stay
their suborbital
Curious would like
flight.
to sponsor me for I'm very happy to go and come back
maybe
and
I'll check
and,
with
and-
that.
and tell you all about it. How's that?
That sounds good. You even take pictures we can
I
share?
would take pictures.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a new age, and in our tally, we say we got 12 humans orbiting the Earth now, thanks to Butch and Suni getting up there, and I think the hatches are probably undocked, so they're probably getting hugs. About 320 was
I
the
think the
estimate
hatch
of
was
that.
supposed to open at 2.
And they didn't dock till 1:35. They're
Yeah.
about an hour
Behind.
a lot behind at least, but that's okay. They take their time. But the point is we've got about 45 karmanauts is what we call them. Marty coined the term karmanauts, and I think that's cool. They reached the Karman line.
Right,
So.
right.
Well, here you got some ladies.
Yeah, this was a really good panel about women in space. And on the far left is Dr. I want to make sure I get the name, Shauna Pandya.
Okay.
She's a medical doctor, but also an analog astronaut. And then we have,
Tell everyone that might not know what an analog astronaut
well, analog astronauts actually simulate missions
on the Earth.
On the Earth, yeah, and they try to
in
do
a habitat,
whether it's a
spaceship.
habitat or like I said, going to the Arctic as an example. So you're really trying to get the experience of what it's like to whether it's a certain 10-day mission or a 30-day mission. And it gives researchers on Earth a lot to work with as you prepare for actually going into space.
Okay.
Yes. So she's
she
done
was
that.
that.
Yeah, she's done that. She was the moderator. And she's interviewing ADL Gonzalez, who is an astrophysicist, Fam Bagley, who is actually a space architect. And you might recognize the person on the far right. That's astronaut Susan Kilrain.
Yes.
From STS-83 and STS-94.
The repeat mission.
Yeah,
She
it's
was
a repeat
the pilot.
mission. So
Yeah.
they were just describing how they got involved in space, what they do, the challenges they faced, and it was really a lot of fun to hear them. And I think one of the most fun stories when someone had asked them all about, they're very all accomplished. So someone asked them about being grounded, how grounded they are to. And Susan Kilrain says, "Oh boy, being a mom keeps me grounded." And she's described the fact that she was an F-14 Tomcat pilot, a Navy test pilot, flew on the shuttle, piloted the shuttle twice. Her husband is a retired admiral and Navy SEAL, but her kids, as far as her kids are concerned, they're just mom and dad. And she was telling us this one time she was invited to actually be on a cooking show as a judge, and her kids were telling her, "Oh, your daughters are saying you got to do this. You have to do that because you'll really be something if you if you get on this cooking show." So she was
Cute.
very, it was a very cute story, very grounded, and just great to meet her. Absolutely.
We've met her, Marty. Very, very interesting and fun to talk to.
Oh, yes.
And Marty, doesn't she have a kid's book?
I'll show you a picture of it in a second, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Good there.
So
Here we got another group of people.
yeah, this is the this was a panel for science fact. I'm sorry, let me get it right. Science fiction to science fact. And the person on the left is Dr. Tony Postian. Tony is our director of marketing, but he was a former F-111 pilot. And has great connections with people in the industry, the movie and television industry. So he brought in 4 people to talk about this. And so we've got Howard Berger, who's on, next to Tony. Howard is an Academy Award-winning makeup artist. Okay. Then you have Liz Kolskowski. She is an art director for the Star Trek Picard. We have Melissa Navia, and then Greg Russell was a sound mixer. 16 times he's been nominated for an Academy Award. So they were just talking about their different experiences working in the movie industry and how that connects to science and space. And I think Liz had, she had a really funny story that, in designing the stages and so on that they use, she was working on the transporter. Now we've all seen Star Trek. We all know how the transporter lights up when a person is being transported down.
This is the
the woman in the middle.
yeah, woman in the middle.
Yes. So she was working with these electricians and so on this transporter, and the electrician, the way he wired it in such a way that when they turned on the transporter, everything lit up. And you've been involved in Star Trek so long, and she's trying to explain to them that's not the way a transporter works. Like it really, that it works individually. She called them the lily pads. You're standing on those lily pads, and that lights up, not the whole thing when one person is transporting.
Okay.
So she was just telling us that funny story And Melissa also had a funny story that she was at an event that had some Academy Award winning actresses. And of course, but she said none of them have piloted the Enterprise. So it's just great to, again, meeting amazing people when you're at the ISDC. And some people might recognize this person. It's Michael Dorn. He was there in the audience, Worf, on Star Trek: Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah.
And he's a very accomplished pilot, has a number of airplanes, and he was actually going to be taking Melissa up the next day, go flying.
Huh.
So
what a star-studded cast out there.
it was great. It was great.
There's some more.
Yeah,
Kids
these are students. I've mentioned that one of the big things we try to do at the National Space Society is inspire the next generation. And our Space Edge Academy has a number of competitions that give students a chance to develop skills that they could use, but also hopefully to win something, win a prize, and add to their own personal resumes. So one of the big contests we do is the Gerald O'Neill Space Settlement Design Contest, where students have to come up with a concept for a space settlement. So you see in this room all these posters. There were hundreds of students who entered this competition. It's an international competition. And you go into the room and you can talk to them and they'll tell you all about their projects. So each of them had a poster hanging up. And they are so enthusiastic. It's just fabulous to see the energy. So when you go in there, be prepared to be in there a while, because they all want to talk to you and share their designs.
You mentioned this is the
The Gerard O'Neill.
Gerard O'Neill.
Remember L5 Society.
Oh, okay.
Remember L5.
Yep. And the L5 Society
the Princeton
was your sister organization.
Yeah, Gerard O'Neill.
Okay.
It's named after him.
Right.
Remember, L5 is one of the organizations that ultimately led to the National Space Society.
L for Langren and Point.
The Lagrange points. Yep.
Yeah, Lagrange points. Yeah, that's right. Lagrange.
Yep. And this is the winning team.
Not in Texas, Lagrange CB. Okay.
This is
There's
the
a
winning
rumor
team.
going around about L5 in town.
This is the winning team. They are from, let me get this right here. They were from Tudor Banyu National High School in Romania. And their project was Project Nova 2. It was a space settlement in Mars's orbit that could house 2,000 people. So they had put together an incredible video explaining it. So while you're meeting all these amazing people, you are meeting the next generation there as well. And again, for me, working and engaging with students is probably one of the most fun things you can do to get them inspired.
Absolutely.
So I always like to spend time with them at the ISDC.
All right.
Yep.
We're enjoying our conversation here with Burt Dicht. He's a great friend on the Space Coast here. Many of you know Burt. Marty, we got any other comments? Or I'll bet Gary Gerald's enjoying this, in Collins, Georgia.
Yeah, please, if you have any questions or comments, send them in.
Have it in there. All right.
And this is something I specifically organized. One of the things we're trying to do more with the National Space Society with college students. What you saw previously are pre-university students. So we were working very closely with SEDS, which is the Students for the Exploration and Development of Space. Jeff Bezos was a SEDS member when he was at Princeton, for example.
Huh, okay.
So they have chapters all over the country and internationally. And what we did here with some of the students, some of the university students who were there, we organized what was called a speed mentoring event. So we brought in a number of space professionals or STEM professionals. They would sit at a table and students would rotate around to ask questions, hear how people manage their own careers. And it was really great. We had a really fun time. You might recognize the guy on the far left, Robert Katz.
Yes, Robert.
Robert was there.
He supports us.
Oh yes.
At the museum,
So it turned out real well. We're gonna try to really take it to the next level when we do the next ISDC.
All right.
But I had fun doing it. So we want to talk about, you mentioned the book from Susan Kilrain, An Unlikely Astronaut. So there is with Jennifer, my colleague in our office. And she sold, we sold copies of the book, and she signed autographs for people.
I've got one. Marty, I think you got one.
Oh,
You
fabulous.
have one.
Yes.
We have Carlton Bailey and Mark Usiak here in the audience. I don't know if CB bought one or not, but Susan's really a nice, warm person. Like you said, twice a pilot, married to a former SEAL and an admiral. That's why she wasn't a commander of a space shuttle. She could have easily been the third female commander.
Oh, easily. Well, he's only one of 3 females to pilot the shuttle.
Yeah,
Yes.
right. And
Yeah.
Pam Melroy, and of course
Yeah.
Eileen Collins, the first one. So.
And the next one,
I'm
I
trying to
believe-
get Marty to comment about her. I really found her engaging.
Oh,
there.
absolutely.
Marty, you don't have anything to say about Susan Kilran? Okay.
Got me on the spot.
Well, you've got her autograph 5 or 6 times, I know, out there. And didn't she say, "Hey, Marty, you're looking pretty good"? All right.
That's fine.
Enough
And
of that. There you are with
there would be
Susan.
Yeah, I had met her a few times before, so it was just good to
Just-
see her. Yeah.
That was the famous mission that they went up for 2 days, and the fuel cell failed, and they had to come back by mission rules, and then NASA let the same crew go up like 6
Very
months later.
unique. Yes.
And the patch
Yes.
is right there. One's blue and one's red on there.
Yes.
So, what was that? 90, you remember? the
83 and
number.
94.
83 and 94.
Yep.
And our everyone who ever meets him loves him, as Don Thomas was on that mission.
Oh,
Marty.
yes.
And Don talked to a group here. Dave Halsell was the commander of that.
So that brings us up to this great patch. We wanted, Gabriel and Jennifer and myself were part of this local chapter of the NSS called the Florida Space Development Council. And NSS is unique in having these geographic chapters. We decided, Jennifer's idea to create a patch around some of the speakers that we had at the ISDC to help raise money for the chapter. So working with, of course, Tim Gagnon,
Yes.
KSC
of course.
artist,
The patch guy.
he created this patch, for us. We worked very closely with him. So we wanted to highlight William Shatner, Alan Stern, Susan Kilrain, and we'll talk about Jose Hernandez in a second. But you can see with Shatner, we've got the Enterprise up there and the New Shepard spacecraft.
Uh-huh.
The new,
Oh,
then
I
for
see. Yeah,
yes,
okay.
and then for Alan Stern.
Thought that was a ghost.
Yep. Then for Alan Stern, you've got New
Pac-Man
Horizons.
ghost.
Yep. Yeah, you got New Horizons and the Virgin Galactic spacecraft. For Susan Kilrain, we've got her Wings of Gold as a naval aviator and a space shuttle for STS 83 and 94. And then Jose Hernandez, STS 128, the Mexican flag and the U.S. flag. So I do have one of the patches here with me, so we can see what. So I'm not sure that there it is. Really turned out. Oh, I got my paper clip still on there, but that's okay. Really turned out well, and it was a big hit at the event. And yep, hopefully people might be interested in getting that patch. We got more left over, and I'll be able to share about how to do that. But we gave them to each of the individuals.
How do they order it? Some people already want it.
I'll show that at the end. So
Okay.
just send us
All
an
right.
email. We'll be
Okay.
able to take care of it. But we gave that to each of the speakers. The only one we didn't get it to was William Shatner, because we just didn't have a chance to be with him. But we gave one to Susan Kilrain, we gave one to Alan Stern, and we gave one to Jose Hernandez.
I think Jose's the next picture.
Yeah.
No.
So
yeah,
Jennifer
there's
is there
Jose.
giving Jose the patch. Yes.
We love Jose, don't we, Marty?
Yes. So I had never met him before, and he was a fascinating guy. Some people might remember that he wrote a book about his experiences. He applied for the astronaut program 11 times and was rejected 11 times. It wasn't until the 12th time that he became accepted, and he wrote a book about it, and they made a movie out of it called A Million Miles Away, and where he tells the story. So he was able, we gave him the Space Pioneer Award, and he shared with us, how, his journey, which involved, he was a migrant farm worker. And, that was his life. And he one time was talking to his father, and he shared this story, and he said he wants to be an astronaut. And his father didn't discourage him. His father said, okay, if you want to be an astronaut, you need to have a recipe for success. So he shared this with us, what his father told him, that first of all, you have to have a goal. Okay, your goal, you want to be an astronaut. Then you have to figure out how far are you from that goal. From achieving that goal. Then you got to figure out what is it going to take in order to get you to that goal. Okay, and it was just great to hear him talk about all this. And the end though, persistence of course was the last thing, because he didn't give up.
Right. Jose's awesome guy there.
So
yeah,
his he needed to do education, and then then he went for it. But he also credits his wife, because he got rejected all these times, and his wife, and this is in the movie as well, his wife asks a very profound question: what's different about these individuals who get accepted versus you? What are you missing? What are you not doing, or what don't you have? And that made him explore it even further. That encouraged him to get a pilot's license, and he got his scuba certification. So he started doing other things to branch out, to make himself more well-rounded. But what's also interesting about his career, as an engineer, he went to work for the Lawrence Livermore Laboratory, and one of the things, he talked about.
Oh yeah, that's a good scene in the movie, Marty. You remember that?
Yeah, he talked about for a while there, he's working on the Strategic Defense Initiative, lasers, and then when that was canceled, they actually had a medical application that he was able to incorporate into mammography to help diagnose breast cancer much earlier. So the technology that they were working on for for weapons actually helped improve the lives of millions of women, and so he's obviously very proud of that aspect of his career. But he also, one of the things, again, trying to understand what people need, he actually did some work and spent time in Russia, so learning Russian. As Russia became more open and trying to figure out what to do with their nuclear weapons, so he went to do things like that when other people weren't that interested. So he knew we were going to be closer to the Russians, and this would be an important thing to help him get accepted as an astronaut.
Marty, we love that movie. As Marty wants to comment about it there. I'll allude to what I'm talking about. Jose Hernandez there on the right, Jennifer Muntz, your executive secretary and jack of all trades there at the end.
Yes.
That's headquarters here. Marty, your comment about wonderful Jose Hernandez.
Yeah, he is wonderful. He's one of my favorite. His book was tremendous. His movie was good. But what they hit on, which you didn't mention, Burt, was, do you remember what they gave him when he started that job with...
they thought he was the janitor.
Yeah.
Yes.
They gave him the keys.
The keys.
With all
Yes.
That,
That is right.
Yes. And then when he left there, he went by the gal and he gave her back all the keys in there. Yeah.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God, I get goosebumps because that movie made me tear up.
Oh, it's a great movie.
I say it's a great Hallmark movie. We saw the premiere at Kennedy Space Center. It's not a Hallmark movie, but they premiered it out there.
Yeah.
He wasn't there, but it had all of us verklempt and teary-eyed there. And his wife is a Michelin star chef.
Yes, opened her own restaurant.
That was a part of the movie. And she's just not a chef. She's a one of the.
But I think he credits her. That's and he said persistence.
1,000,000 miles away. That's what you want. I think it's on Prime. It's on
Prime Video.
Okay, Prime.
Yeah.
On there. Watch that. And Marty, tell us what you're trying to work with Mr. Jose Hernandez.
Yeah, we're just trying to lock down a date, but he's going to come in here. We're going to do wine tasting, the wine bottles autograph,
That's what he
book
does
autograph,
now.
DVD autograph, and hopefully we'll have some lithographs also.
Great.
He opened a vineyard.
Yeah, Luna Vineyards or
Yes,
something like
yes,
that on there.
yes.
He's got a Wine of the Month club, folks.
Yes.
If you like that sort of thing.
Great,
But,
great story.
yeah,
And
we could talk on and on about
yeah.
Mr. Jose Hernandez, his one flight, what an inspiration
SDS
to
128
to
yeah.
everybody. That took Nicole Stott up to the
Yes.
ISS for
Yes.
her expedition.
So there he is with
There
our
he
Space
is.
Pioneer Award. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
was his
guy to
wife
meet.
there?
His wife was not there. In
Okay.
fact, he actually had to leave a little early because he was going on to another speaking engagement
Uh-huh.
afterward. Yes. So fascinating.
Well, great. Everybody
Yeah.
bopped in there and gave you a
Yeah.
little bit of love there.
Yeah.
There's your.
So just as a pitch, as like I said, you can meet so many amazing people at the ISDC and learn so much. So next year, ISDC is going to be in Orlando at the Rosen
Oh,
Center Hotel.
wow. Yeah,
So-
I'll be saving
so
my money for that.
So everyone's invited. We're going to be, hopefully we can work together with the museum
Absolutely.
and put
See how
together
we
some
can
things.
partner with you on
Gabriel is actually the chair of the conference.
All right.
Yes.
And
So,
Gabriel and Jennifer have been on
Yeah.
here twice, in fact.
and the
I see.
theme is Together Beyond. So we're, once the ISDC is done, we've already started thinking about this and working on it.
June
And
19th and 22nd
Yes.
there. That's a good
Yep.
time of the
yeah, usually they're over the Memorial Day weekend. We've moved it,
Uh-huh.
and we're looking forward to an amazing event.
I'm not familiar with the Rosen Center Hotel, but
It's supposed to be really great.
anywhere in Orlando's
Yeah.
fine with me, close to home here. So,
Yeah.
Burt, thanks for taking us to the International
Yes.
Space Development Conference. And the art people were there, the International Astronomical
Yes,
Artists
Aldous
Association.
Spadoni was there. Doug Forrest was there, and a few others. And and we'll hope to be doing that again as well.
All
And,
right.
Yes.
Well, we're going to change gears here to, was that out there? That's here. isn't
That is here.
it? Okay.
So right after I got back, you had
Yeah, there's
Carolyn
Caroline.
on. I went to the Astronauts Scholarship Foundation's Astronaut Hall of Fame weekend. So one of the things they did is they arranged a tour of Hangar X, SpaceX. I can't even say it.
Oh.
For SpaceX, their Hangar X, where they refurbished the fairings for the Falcon 9 and the first stages of the Falcon 9.
And people forget they're harvesting those fairings
Yeah.
and saving $1 million.
Yes, they are. Yes.
That's a whole new thing.
So no pictures, so I couldn't share anything, but I was fascinated by seeing these Falcon 9s lined up. It takes them about 28 days to refurbish them, so they have a team on each one.
Was there a smell in the room of the?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. So they're on long platforms, obviously, and I'll show a picture a little later about something. But here we are at there's a kind of a reception area. So SpaceX takes all of their customers up here, and they actually have a great balcony where you can oversee all the launch pads out on the Kennedy Space Center and even on Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. And right next door, which we weren't able to see for some reason, is their Launch Control Center. I know they used to have it out at the Sand, where the Sands
Uh-huh.
Museum is, but it's now there in Hangar X.
Huh.
But we weren't able to see that.
I see
And-
Caroline Shoemaker there, the
Yes.
blonde next to Val Ramanujan, and Bharat there with the
Barack is there.
patches.
Yes.
And
yes.
they're great supporters of our museum.
Yes. So
And that was the VIP group. There,
this was a
huh?
VIP group,
Mhm.
and just fabulous. But again, it's one of the things you can get to. You can meet people you haven't met before, and this is astronaut Joan Higginbotham, who was on STS 116.
Yeah.
So she was there signing autographs, taking pictures, and I love her story because she talked about the fact that she was an electrical engineering student, and all of a sudden she gets a call, and it was from an engineer manager at the Kennedy Space Center, and we'd like to fly you down, and because we want you to come to work for NASA. And she thought she was being, spoofed or punked. Who is this? What is this? And then she found out, no, it was really the Kennedy Space Center. And so she flew down never thought about going. She had interned with IBM. She thought she was an electrical engineering major. She thought she'd work with IBM, and never thought about a space career. But once she got here, they gave her, they treated her like royalty, and she couldn't, she came here to the Kennedy Space Center.
Joan Higginbotham there.
Yep.
She's a very petite lady too.
And she went to she again, it was encouragement of her boss, said after a certain amount of time, you would make a great astronaut. So she never really thought about that, but she applied. She ended up applying, didn't get accepted the first time. And again, just like Jose Hernandez, what was I missing? And she went back and got another master's degree, and was accepted the next time around. So again, just fabulous to meet some of these individuals and hear their stories.
Groupies in the room here, Carlton Bailey and Mark Usiak. She was at the cocktail challenge at Zarella's. Did you meet her over there? Yeah, she was she was over there with Bernard Harris in there, and Kay Heyer also. They split before the big picture was taken. I didn't get a chance to talk to her.
So that is astronaut Shane Kimbrough,
whose birthday was just 3 days ago.
Oh, really? Okay.
Turned 57.
So he kind of escorted us around the Hangar X, because of course he flew on a...
Where are you at? What's your location there?
There? Oh, that's the Apollo Saturn Center.
There we go.
Yes, so you can see the Saturn V just laying on its side there. But he was just fabulous again to talk to. And he's one of these unique individuals who's flown on 3 different rocket spacecraft.
Yeah.
So he flew on Soyuz, he flew on the space shuttle, and he flew Crew 2, SpaceX Crew 2, to the International Space Station.
Yeah.
So naturally, everyone was asking him about the riding, the experience of each rocket. But I asked about coming back, because I've always heard Soyuz is a heck of a ride when you come back. And he said certainly the shuttle was the most, was the most fun in terms of the ride going up and coming back. And Soyuz that's a rough ride when you land.
Well, I'm enjoying these stories from Burt. Boy, you're full of them. This is another Nick Thomas here we got going, Marty, with some great personal stories that we appreciate you sharing with us today.
Yeah.
We got some more here.
And this is one of the things they do at the Astronaut Hall of Fame weekend is they have different panel sessions. So this was an International Space Station panel. So Bob Cabana was the moderator, of course, the former KSC director, former shuttle astronaut, and deputy administrator. And then, Rick Mastriacco, what is it?
Mastraccio.
Rick
Mastraccio.
I learned that at
Mastraccio.
Rick Mastraccio.
Right.
And
He's
of course,
awesome.
And Nicole Stott, and then Shane. And they were just talking about life aboard the International Space Station.
And of course, Nikki's a friend of our museum. I brag about her book all the time. We're on a planet, we're all Earthlings, and the only border that matters is that thin blue line around the Earth.
It was actually great. They had great stories about it, and I asked about because I've always wondered when guests go up, like these Axiom astronauts who are not part of the expedition. I said, how are they integrated into the crew? Because you have expedition crews. I said, I joked, do they have to sleep on the space couch?
Right, yeah.
But no, they integrate them very well. Any guests that come up, they're doing work when they're up there. So I always wondered about that. And this is George Pinky Nelson, astronaut George Pinky Nelson, a veteran of 3 space shuttle flights as well. One of the things that's nice, Mark, is that over the last 2 weeks, I think I've met about 12 astronauts I hadn't met before.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah.
So
and they'd be one.
So I'm up to about 180.
If Bob Seek's still watching, he always said that every time he saw Pinky, he thought he should have a surfboard under his arm there. And he still looks pretty youthful.
Yeah, he does. He does.
What does he like to talk to? Is that Wisconsin? He's out there. What's the W?
Think so, yeah.
University of Wisconsin. I'm not sure where he's from, but I'd love to
spend
some time with him.
Well, the thing about them all, they're all so nice, engaging, willing to talk to you.
Pinky Nelson.
The only requirement when you're at one of these events is there's a no autograph rule, but they are happy to take pictures with you and talk with you.
Right,
yep.
There's another.
This panel was just of the astronaut scholars, and you can see Scott Altman there was the moderator. So he was just asking them about how they got involved, in STEM, what their majors were, what they're doing now. And these are incredible students. I joke, I was an engineering student, and I try to think of myself, what they're doing, the research, the work they did. I never did any of that. So these are extraordinary individuals. This is
Satcher.
Robert Satcher. Yes. It was great to meet him because he was on board STS-129, the only shuttle launch I saw.
Oh, okay.
So I wanted to say hello. I wanted to say hello to him.
All right.
And he was, again, he's a medical doctor and was on one of the panels as well.
Did a spacewalk. I think he was the last African American to do a spacewalk until.
And then the next one, someone you mentioned earlier, Bernard Harris.
Yeah, Bernard.
Yeah, and I actually was at the same table.
He did the first spacewalk by an African American.
Oh, did he? Okay. Yeah. It was great. He was at our table at breakfast and shared some stories. And he commented about, you were talking about going to Mars. He said, as he gets a little older, then he's willing to do it and go to Mars because not worried about coming back.
Marty's got a comment there for Burt here. We're enjoying a wonderful program, Marty.
A comment from Nick Seidler says the W is Washington Huskies.
Oh, the Huskies.
Okay, thank you. Washington Huskies. Out of the Big Ten and into the Pacific Rim up there. Okay.
Always good to be accurate.
That's right.
Right.
And boy, they let me know if I'm not accurate. Okay. Marty.
Everybody out there, any errors are Mark's errors, not mine.
I'll take them all. Right?
So here's our Hall of Fame inductees. Marsha Ivins, of course, the veteran of 5 shuttle flights. And again, just great to talk to them. They're also humble, even though they're being inducted.
Oh, she's very humble. Martha's very. She would rather not been there, I think, in some ways. She did. But well deserved. Well deserved. 5
absolutely.
Flights.
Yes.
She was.
And then the last one from the Hall of Fame is the other inductee, David Hilmers, which is interesting. I didn't even know this, that after he left the astronaut program, he went back to medical school at the age of 40.
Yeah, Baylor.
Yeah, and so very accomplished physician.
I feel
now.
kind of he was very active physician.
Yeah, and he does a lot of work around the world.
He said he lived in Australia now, and he hadn't been on the Space Coast in 30 years.
Oh, really? Is that
Marty said?
Oh, wow.
He said that in a speech, Marty, didn't he?
Yeah.
There, but.
Yeah, just great to again meet all these individuals.
Absolutely.
So now we transition to the end. Now this is something that we were driving to the Apollo Saturn Center in the bus, and this is a terrible picture, I admit it. But the sun was coming in from the west side. I grabbed my phone as fast as I could because they were moving a Falcon 9's first stage, which they called single sticks.
They call them single sticks. Yeah, single sticks. Stood it up and everything.
Yeah. And then we, that night on the 31st, we all went out to the beach there at Cocoa Beach.
Great
to see the Starlink launch of Falcon 9. Yeah, that shot is really great because you can actually see the rocket right at the top.
See the rocket, and those of us that have watched now many of these, almost 100. The color of the flame at that blue and orange, then the orange turns very reddish, and then you have a turquoise comes out of the engines, and envelops into the red, and some real artist needs to watch that and do a watercolor of that.
Right.
It's just fabulous. What a rhythm when you watched
and that was the first time I'd seen a launch from the Cocoa Beach. So it was pretty nice. So here we get toward the end, everybody. Yeah. It's been, again, ISDC, Astronaut Hall of Fame, and now we move into the Starliner launch. So these were the shots of when the crew...
took these?
I took all these. Okay. These are when the crew first arrived at the Kennedy Space Center. They took us out to the shuttle landing facility. They came out in T-38s, and there's Butch and Suni. So it's a really fun experience to see them arrive And I was telling people the last times I went, they came in a Gulfstream, not the T-38s. So it was great to see them in those T-38s.
We're pretty sure they're getting in the welcoming hugs and
Oh,
looking
yes.
out the cupola, which Butch's flight was 129 to the space station, his last flight like 12 years ago. So he never saw the cupola because 130 took it up. Kay Hire
Oh, okay.
was
Right.
one astronaut I know on that.
And this was a nice shot I think I got of the all the T-38s lined up there with the
Sweet, yeah.
with the NASA emblem there.
Very
I
sweet.
like that. And the first rollout, I wasn't there for the second
That
one.
looks like
and,
Mark Usiak's
and,
shot I've been playing.
and Mark was there that day for the first
Yeah.
time they rolled out the Atlas V and the Starliner to SLC 41.
195 feet tall.
So-
Marty did that fact check for me. The Falcon 9's 212.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
little bit
So
shorter.
just fun. And this was taken at the second crew walkout when they come out of the operations and checkout facility at the Kennedy Space Center where they're staying. And it's a really exciting thing to see them come out. They greet their families who are there. There are some NASA and contractor VIPs. And those of us, in the media who are taking pictures, and there's so much energy there.
Suni's long hair there, Marty, reminds me. Would you share what Marcia Ivins said about her hair at the induction?
After she returned after the first flight, and they took that picture of her hair
The one,
going straight up.
yes,
Yeah. And people, I guess I'll say people wrote in, commented to NASA that that's unsanitary. So NASA told her she has to cut her hair, and she said, "No way, that's not going to happen." Anyway, so she came up with, I don't know the company, but she found a dry shampoo that they now use on the space station.
Oh, really? Okay.
Thank
They
you
also
for
had-
sharing.
Yeah, they
that,
showed
Marty.
that picture.
And they had to put the hair in there,
Yes.
they had to tie it up.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to see them. And there's, with Tori Bruno,
He's going.
the president
Big time
and
right
CEO of course, of ULA. And he very nice guy.
Very approachable man for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
He's
And an NSS member, by the way.
great.
Yes.
Cool. Good. Tony Bruno, that was.
Tori.
Tori Bruno.
Tori
Yeah,
Bruno,
Tori
yep.
Bruno. So,
And there's the launch. The thing we were waiting for.
is that whose photo is
That's
that?
mine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's mine. It really was exciting, when it finally gets down there and goes up. But then, as I said, about 10 seconds, maybe was it, Mark? It went into this cumulus cloud. Was it that long? 30?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it seemed faster.
Well, and
Yeah.
our screen green screen yesterday was Connie McDaniel, our ace volunteer here, with the clouds over the VAB. Oh, it's just a picture perfect.
It was
day.
so
Those
nice.
clouds look like
And-
a pastel.
But they were commenting about the conditions and that created this big cloud that just hung there.
Yeah.
And this was at the post-launch press conference. So
See our administrator, Mr. Nelson's
Yeah.
there, second from the left.
yeah, and Ken Bowersox, he also next to Bill Nelson, the
Yeah,
former
okay.
astronaut.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
Socks. Was it a nominal launch, meaning everything went?
yeah. Tori Bruno's, perfect countdown, very very quiet countdown. Yep,
Third time was the charm.
yep, and then this now.
Oh, wait a minute.
I went to the press conference, and so I asked a question, and someone saw me on NASA TV and sent me this picture.
Oh, sweet.
So I had asked Tori Bruno about the lessons learned. They did the two scrubs and the launch. I'm sure they'll be evaluating all their processes and procedures and lessons learned in preparation for the next time. And I just asked him if there was anything that stood out in terms of that. So that was kind of fun.
What'd he say?
He said absolutely they will be doing all of that. He didn't have anything specific to talk about but they'll be looking at everything in order to make sure the next time around is just as smooth. So
And then did you remind him that his membership was due in July?
I did not do that.
Okay.
And this last picture, this was a kind of a treat for me. This is CNN space and defense correspondent Kristen Fisher. And you might recall when I was here the first time, I showed that picture of me with Anna Fisher.
Yes.
That's
Oh.
her mother is Anna Fisher, the astronaut, and Bill Fisher, the astronaut.
Marty, you told me about that.
Yes. So it was good to meet her, and I told her about times I met her mom, and that she's that I shared that picture that when we met in 1984, and she saw Anna Fisher signed it. And I said, still to this day, the best description ever, because this was in 1984. She wrote, "We still both look good." So she loved that, and it was just great to meet her.
Well,
So-
she's open to Stay Curious appearance here if you could ever
Oh,
forget.
yeah,
Marty,
yeah.
Marty is going to approach Anna Fisher, or I was going to ask her about it. She's
Anna
frequently out
Anna
at the
Fisher would be
Space
great.
Center.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah,
Yes,
yeah. She's
yes.
a very warm person for
Yes,
sure. What a
absolutely.
beautiful daughter.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Uh,
So I think that wraps up the pictures, and I just wanted to pitch a couple things because I know some people might be interested. We have been working with a company called Galactic Medallion in order to organize a membership tours of the Kennedy Space Center. We did our first one in January, and we're going to be doing another one in September 19th to the 22nd. And we'd love to have people come out. It's an exclusive tour. It's a behind the scenes tour. Things that you normally wouldn't be able to get to see. Hopefully, we're hoping to get into the VAB. We're keeping fingers crossed. That type of thing. So we hope you can go onto the Galactic Medallion website or reach out to me. And be glad to answer any questions, but we're going to be starting to promote this coming up. So
you're doing it over a series of 3 days?
yeah, people would come in on the
Or 4
third.
days,
Come
19th,
in.
20th,
Yeah,
21st,
they'll come in on the Thursday. We'll have a reception for them. We stay at the Marriott Courtyard, Titusville, with the space bar, and then 2 full days of events, and we're going to wind up with the tour of the Warbird Museum as well. That's here in Titusville. So it should be a lot of fun. The first one was great, and we're looking forward to another exciting tour. So hopefully people will want to be able to join us. And then finally, just some contact information. If people are interested in getting that patch, you can reach out to me at that email address, there it is, burt.dicht@nss.org, or feel free to contact jennifer.muntz@nss.org, or just give our office a call, and we'll be hopefully get you one of those patches. So with that, I'm closing out. It was fun.
Great job.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that was very
yeah.
enjoyable for sure. A lot of great information. Here is the Ad Astra
yeah.
magazine. This is from about 2 years ago almost. But when we had around there, the UCAC brothers were featured in there about a year and a half ago. Their excellent photography was in here. But it's
it's a great magazine.
yeah, and it's dedicated to the creation of a spacefaring civilization. It says
That's
so
what we're
right
doing
on the
here.
county, right there.
Yes.
And we all want that because we have a terminal lifetime here for our sun. It's only going to last about 4 billion years, so we need to have our bags packed and ready to go somewhere else out there. Burt, want to give the first person that I'm going to give this patch to is we have got some Shuttle Fest patches.
Look at that.
Thank you, Steve Jokums at the Lake County Spaceport for helping us get these. Tim Gagnon's design there.
I've got
And
a
you
lot
were
of
at
Tim's work.
You were at Space Fest or Shuttle Fest 3, Shuttle Fest 4 is well in the works and planning stages to celebrate the 35th year of the Hubble, April 12th and 13th. And we're lining up astronauts and so forth on that.
We're looking forward to
love
that.
to have for you to have that, my
Absolutely.
friend.
Thank you, Mark.
on
And
there.
we'll trade patches. I'll let you have that one from our Florida Space Development Council from the ISDC.
Thank you very much.
yes,
Appreciate that.
yes.
We'll add that to our collection.
Add
In
it
fact,
to
I'm
your
going to start
absolutely.
a new vest. Dave Stenge's watching up in Michigan, and Steve Jokums, like I said, contributed that to us and much more. Tom Celentano, sounds like Tom's on the coast here. Stop by and see me, Tom. Bob Seek, the great launch director of the shuttle, but also more importantly, one of the architects of the shuttle management side, as the manager of the shuttle program, Mr. Bob Seek. Thank you for watching. And Nick Sedler watching there. And many of you out there that don't chime in on YouTube, like Hazel Banks. And we've got in here Carlton Bailey and Mark Usiak, fresh from getting their remote cameras out there at the Space Center. So we'll be sharing some more pictures that they took of a beautiful, nominal flight for the photographers too. The angle of the light was perfect.
Would have been better if the
out
sun
there
was a
for a
little bit
change.
higher, I think, right?
But
still,
yeah.
yeah, in the clouds, yes. But
Well, Burt's going to try to come back the first Thursday of every month or
Absolutely.
somewhere in there. And as you can see, we just might open up the mics and talk like space geeks about what's going on, because really enjoyed your behind the scenes things, my friend there. And look forward to having you on again and contributing.
absolutely, Mark. Thank you for
Sitting
having
there.
me.
So thank you everybody for watching today. Thank you, Marty, for watching the Streamlabs. We got Logan Cope in here, our intern from Eastern Florida State College, learning the ropes here, and appreciate everybody supporting our nonprofit here in downtown Titusville. Hope the weather is wonderful and summery like where you're at. We're here now getting our foothold in June,
It's hot
a
out
quarter way
today.
through the 21st century. So thank you, Burt.
My pleasure,
Thank you,
Mark.
Dick. Always a pleasure,
Yes.
buddy. Thank you. I'm Mark Marquette. Until next time, I can't wait to see you to bridge the space between us.
Take care, everybody.